over 30 years, starting her career as a registered nurse and expanding into the roles in administration, the insurance industry, and business consulting. Prior to joining Conway Regional, Alicia served as the Chief Administrative Officer for Radiology Associates in Little Rock. She has an associate degree in nursing and a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Arkansas at Monticello and a master's degree in counseling psychology from the University of Central Arkansas. In addition, Alicia is a licensed psychological examiner and certified healthcare executive and a Christian life coach. Among other accolades, Alicia has been recognized as the Cambridge Who's Who and Medical Executive of the Year, one of Arkansas's top 40 CEOs under 40, and the CEO of Arkansas's Business of the Year. Wow, that's wonderful. Congratulations. She has also been a member of the Rotary Club International since 2006, and we're hoping we can get her to come this way, so y'all be nice to her. And the author of Purse Prayer, a women's Bible study, and a life group leader at New Life Church. Alicia is married to Joel, and together they have 2 adult children and 2 granddaughters. Please welcome Miss Alicia Kunert.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to get to be here to speak to you today. And we're going to talk about the Conway Regional Rehabilitation Hospital. And on some of your tables, there's a green sheet of paper. There is nothing any better than going to a meeting and feeling like you walk out with answers. And so the sheets on your table represent answers to questions I'm going to ask, because I'd like to get you engaged in this presentation and really it be more of a conversation. Because I have a couple of special guests that are going to follow me that can tell this story a whole lot better than I can. But just to get started, and there's a lot going on in healthcare in the Conway community, as everybody knows, but I just wanted to ask the first question, of which I will also give you the answer, but then we'll start. But I wanted to ask you all if you know the name of the second hospital in Conway. The answer to that question is actually Conway Regional Rehabilitation Hospital. So many people in the community may not be aware as far as it is actually a totally separate hospital from the Conway Regional Medical Center. It is a private for-profit hospital. It is owned by the Conway Regional Health System and 21 of the local Conway physicians. And it is truly considered an acute care hospital, but it specializes in the rehabilitation services. Okay, so now we're going to get started with the question and answer part. And like I said, there's somebody out there that has the answer. It's on a green sheet on your table. I can't tell you which table it's on, so you'll have to figure out if you're the lucky one holding the answer. And the question is Conway Regional Rehab Hospital part of the Conway Regional Medical Center or the Conway Regional Health System? Who has that answer?
We have it.
You have it? Would you please share your answer?
Sure. Conway Regional Rehabilitation Hospital is a standalone facility, completely separate hospital, separate ownership, separate certification, and separate management. Conway Regional Rehabilitation Hospital is part of the Conway Regional Health System. Typically, about 40% of the Conway Regional Rehabilitation Hospital patients are referred from outside of the Conway Regional Health System. I don't know how you say that all.
Let me just share, we abbreviate quickly to CRRH, and especially when you're writing. But one of the points that I wanted to make on there, as far as about 40% of our patients actually come from outside of the Conway Regional Medical Center or the Conway Regional Health System, because it may be patients who have been transferred for multiple injuries from an accident or from a stroke where they've been treated elsewhere, and they're trying to get back to their community and get their rehab here so that they can get back into the community. Or we have brought in patients from other states where maybe their family or their support system is actually here. And so it's easier for them to rehab here close to family in the Conway community. So I'll tell you, we have quite a network of referral sources. Okay, we're going to go to the next question. When was the Conway Regional Rehabilitation Hospital opened? Who has that answer? So you may have that answer on your table. There you go. 2004. And again, I'm just wanting to make sure that you're aware of this information because so many people don't really even know how long it's been there or it's existed. Okay, the next question is, where is the Conway Regional Rehabilitation Hospital located?
Behind stove.
Well, I have to tell you this, and it's really kind of funny because for the longest, our landmark for the rehab hospital was, it's right behind Stobie's. Well, of course, the tragic fire with Stobie's, so now we're behind Patty Cakes. We have to have a food point of reference, but that's where we're located. How many beds does the Conway Regional Rehabilitation Hospital have?
26.
26. And I'll just make this point just so that you all know. 26 beds, that number is significant. 26 beds is the same number of beds many of the critical access hospitals have around the state. So that hospital is actually the same size as hospitals in some of the smaller rural communities. So it could actually be developed into its own full hospital. Conway Regional Rehab Hospital is an acute care hospital, but does the hospital provide emergency services? Who has that answer?
No.
No. Want to read yours?
Merit, you.
Okay.
Conway Regional Rehabilitation Hospital, if I remember correctly,
That's
does treat acute medical issues for patients receiving rehabilitation services, and there are only 3 other hospitals like Conway Regional Rehabilitation Hospital in the state of Arkansas.
And that too is a very important point for you to know what you have here in Conway. There are only 3 other hospitals like the Conway Regional Rehabilitation Hospital in the state of Arkansas. The other 3 hospitals that are like this one are Baptist Rehabilitation Institute in Little Rock, the CHI St. Vincent's Health South Rehabilitation Hospital in North Little Rock, and the Health South Rehabilitation Hospital in Springdale, Arkansas. And the reason why I make that point as far as the service that is provided there is very unique in the sense that it basically doubles as an acute care hospital that's specializing in rehabilitation services. So I just want to give credit where credit's due as far as this hospital was developed in 2004, and it's a very unique service in the state, but it's something to be very proud of. And as far as the overall healthcare continuum of this community, rehabilitation services, it goes the full gamut from outpatient services all the way through the acute rehab and then back home. The next thing I want to let you know about is there's 13 main types of diagnostic categories that are qualifying diagnoses or which patients are approved to be treated in this type of hospital. But I wanted to also share with you all, that's very technical. There's a sheet out there on somebody's table that says the types of things that are most common or most familiar as to the types of patients that we take care of. So does anybody have that on your table? It's kind of long.
There's
There you go.
CVA.
It's a cerebral vascular accident or other name for stroke.
Strokes. Okay. Brain and spinal cord injuries, neurological diseases, joint replacements, orthopedic injuries, multiple trauma and injuries, acute medical need due to an extended illness.
So a lot of times when people think about rehabilitation hospitals, I think it's natural for people to think about recovery from strokes or spinal cord injury, that type of thing. But what we can take care of is actually a pretty broad array. And one thing that people sometimes don't realize is that you may have a loved one who's just been sick for a long time, and through that extended illness, they have what's called a medical debility. It just means they need some help. They need some help getting their strength back, getting back to where they can take care of themselves, and take care of their own activities of daily living and be able to live safely by themselves. So I just wanted you all to be aware of the types of patients that we take care of. Okay, y'all are passing. Okay, now that was pretty technical in the sense as far as the types of patients that we take care of. But I'm going to tell you this, if you have any questions about the hospital or the types of patients that we take care of, the easiest thing to do is just call us. And we will walk you through that entire process, take you through the patient assessment process, work with your physicians to determine the type of plan of care, maybe even the medications you're currently on and how we can further support that. On your tables, there's some brochures, and with that brochure, there's actually business cards attached to that, and that has the phone number. And that is the phone number for what's called a patient liaison. And it's just basically a referral process so that some of our staff can help walk through that process. Then the next question I have, and I don't have this answer on your table because I really want to answer this one for you. You will hear many references made in the Conway market to rehab facilities. A lot of the facilities say nursing and rehab. And I want to tell you, they're not all the same, and what we do is a little bit different as far as the acute medical. But I also think it's very important to, again, give credit where credit is due as far as the Conway community has some state-of-the-art skilled nursing facilities and rehab facilities, and we're proud to work with every one of them in the sense that there are times when they're taking care of a patient who needs rehab services that may come to us. There are times we may be working with patients rehabbing them and they need a little bit more time to recover before they can get back home. And so there are some differences between our facilities, but at the same point in time, I think there's a lot of complement between us and these facilities, and we appreciate the opportunity. Okay, I've had fun doing this, and the whole point was to try to just get you interactive and asking questions and all, because I have some very, very special guests with me who can tell this story much better than I can. First, we have Rebecca Vines, who is a former patient of ours, and she is going to tell you a little bit about her story, her perspective, having been a former patient, but also welcomes your questions about her experience and what all she did there at the rehab hospital. Come on up.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Conway Rehab, for asking me to speak. I saw a familiar face. It's very nice to see you again. My name's Rebecca Vines. Most people call me Coach. I'm a high school coach, both softball and volleyball at Riverview High School in Searcy. I also teach elementary PE, K through 6, so to say that I'm an active person would be a little bit of an understatement. I have 3 boys, 18, 14, and 10. They all play travel sports, so when my girls are in season and my boys are playing, it's not unlikely for us to average 15 games a week at our house. So my mother does all their laundry. She's every Monday morning, Mom, here's the baseball pants. Get them clean. She's awesome. So I have been in coaching for about 24 years. I've been married for 25 years. I have a degree from Carnegie University in kinesiology and a minor in health. So that kind of aided me a little bit in my situation. It was good. The reason I came to Conway Rehab is on August 14th of last year. I was hit head on in a collision on Highway 65. Haven't gone to trial yet for that, so I can't give you very many specifics, but it was a very bad situation. It also happened to be my oldest son's 18th birthday. So my entire family and I were coming to Conway to eat at Fuji. There were 5 vehicles full of family members. Probably the only person I've ever known that had a head-on in front of their entire family. So everyone was there, all of my boys, my in-laws, everyone. Mom was in the front seat with me. It was not a good situation. So anyway, I was med-flighted to Baptist Medical Center. I was in a coma for 2 weeks while I underwent 5 surgeries, fractured elbow, fractured wrist, crushed my left femur, my right tibia, and my right foot. So I had quite a few injuries. When I woke up, basically the only limb I could move was my right arm. So I was in what they call a sling bed for about 9 weeks. No weight bearing, so if I need to get out of the bed, they just strap me in the machine, pick me up, move me over, sit me down. That's basically my mobility. I don't know if you can imagine that, but someone as active as myself, just laying in the bed for 9 weeks, it was tough. It was really hard. I told my husband, I said, God help me, but I envy the people that can walk right now. I really do. Because I just wanted to get out there and do what I do. But God settled me. I sat back. It was time to go to rehab after 9 weeks. I know lots of occupational therapists, and so I started making phone calls. You know, I wanted the best care possible because I have 425 kids at my elementary waiting for me to get back. So I started making calls, did some research. Everyone said, Conway Rehab, that's the place to go. So that's where I went. I arrived on a stretcher on September 30th, and it was about 2 hours into that. That's kind of an embarrassing story, but it's important. I need to go to the restroom, okay? And I was like, hey, I need a bedpan. We don't do that here. How am I going to go to the restroom? And they're like, we're going to show you. And that's how it started. And I needed that. I did not realize that I needed that. Being a coach, it's one thing, you know, to motivate kids to go and do, but to motivate myself, it became very hard because, you know, depression is definitely a part of your injuries. And so it wasn't long, about a week after that, I was on the Argo machine. I could stand for about 10 seconds. It's a machine that literally picks you up and holds your weight for you. So I could stand for about 10 seconds. About a week later, I took my first steps with the help of the Argo. My husband was kind enough to record everything and post it on Facebook. So I'm surprised you haven't seen it. That was his way of coping, so that's okay. I'm all right with that. He was there every step of the way. The therapists there were amazing. I did not know the difference really in occupational and physical therapy, but I learned very quickly. You know, occupational, they help you take a shower, they help you load the washing machine, they help you put the groceries in the cabinet. Those are things we literally did in class. They taught me how to sew. It was awesome. So, and then, you know, the physical therapy, those are the people, the reps, and the sets. We're going to do 20 times, 3 sets. That was my language. I understood those people. That was something I knew how to do. So made great friends there. One of them even came recently to watch me coach a softball game. Most people did not expect me to be back at work at all this year. So being a coach, when I got there and got to know my therapist, I said, all right, look, we're going to set some goals, because that's what coaches do, right? We set goals. So I said, I want to be home by my anniversary, November 2nd. Had the accident August the 14th, came to rehab September 30th. So that was roughly 3.5, 4 weeks out. You know, they were encouraging, but I could tell they didn't think it was going to happen. So I said, I want to be home November 2nd. Also happens to be the opening weekend of deer season. Just saying. And I'm a big hunter. We hunt, yes. And I also wanted to be back at work after the Christmas break. January 5th, I was going back to work. My AD came to see me in rehab. He's like, you know, it's good. Don't worry about it. We're going to hold your position. I said, I will be there. I'm not missing softball season. I'd already missed my entire volleyball season. I'm not missing softball. I have 7 seniors. I will be there. And so the therapists were amazing. They pushed me. Anytime I had a bad day, they reminded me of these goals. You want to see those girls play softball? You want to get home? You want to kill that buck? We got to go. Let's go. And so every day we worked and worked and worked. And so I just want to conclude by saying that I've had so many people tell me how strong I am. I would disagree with that. Mr. Murphy and I talked about that earlier. I was almost an amputee. They were going to amputate my right leg when I first got there. Thank the Lord they didn't. But I would say my support system was amazing, and that therapists are never given the respect that they truly deserve, because they're the ones that put you back on your feet. They're the ones that get you back into your life. And if you don't have those goals and you don't have them pushing you, you don't ever get back to who you want to be. I'm still on a crutch. I just had my 6th surgery 2 weeks ago. Had to reconstruct my femur, but it's all good. He even told me, I'm not going to send you back to therapy because I know you can do it by yourself. So God is good, but the therapists were the biggest part of my system that got me back to where I need to be. So I'm very thankful. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
How's the rest of your family?
My mom was in the front seat. She had a broken rib and ankle. My sister-in-law was behind her. She was fine, just some bruises. My 9-year-old was in the middle. He just had bruises from his seatbelt. My nephew was behind me. He was med-flighted because he had his seatbelt on, but under his arms, the seatbelt safety, and he came forward and hit that handle. You know, you have the handle, and it hit right here. So he lost his vision for a few months, but has recovered and is totally fine. So everyone had their seatbelt on. I was doing about 55, he was doing about 80, and we hit driver to driver. So my husband was in the truck behind me. My 2 boys were in the car in front of me, and then my sister and stepmom and niece and nephew were 5 cars back. So, good question. Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Okay, our next guest is Mr. Lester Murph. He has been with us a couple of different times at the rehab hospital and has a very unique story to share. And you can see too, as far as the whole point of rehabilitation is helping them, but then turning around and looking at what a contribution they make back into our community.
Good day. This is a wonderful, wonderful group. I had heard of the Rotary Club all my life, but I did not know what you guys' mission was. I Googled it, and I learned a lot. You guys are very special. Y'all go out of your way to help people, and you should be applauded all the time. My name is Lester Murphy, and Rebecca said they called her coach, they just called me Lester. So, my last name is Murph, not Murphy. I always get help trying to spell it, but I always tell them no. In 2011, December of 2011, I got a foot ulcer on my right foot. I went to several different doctors. They put me on a lot of different antibiotics. And so I wound up going to see Dr. Fletcher. He's vascular surgeon for me. Very, very good. He doctored it for about 2 weeks, and then I come in one Tuesday and he said, there's nothing else I can do, we're going to have to remove it. Well, that was a Tuesday. They did it on Wednesday, so I had overnight to take pictures of my leg so I know what it looked like. He removed it. I stayed there 3 days, went to the rehab hospital. I had no idea what to expect, didn't know where this was going. My life was over. I didn't have a leg. I was done. Got very, very depressed. They brought a psychologist in for all the good they did. But anyway, they put me through exercises, and you sit back and look at them now, and you're like, okay, I see where they were going with that. But at the time, you're like, why are we doing this? What good is this? What's the outcome of this? But as you do them, and your legs or your arms or your back or whatever starts getting stronger to where you can tolerate pain and tolerate getting up. That was a big feat, just getting up. And then I had prosthetic, and I was doing great. I still went deer hunting, climbed up in tree stands, just no problem. I'm still working. Well, 2014, same thing happened to the other foot. And Dr. Flesher tried to heal it up. It took him about 2 or 3 weeks. And I come in on Tuesday. He said, it's time. I said, well, when can you do it? He went away, he come back, and he said, how about noon today? And I said, all right, here we go. I tell you all this to explain that we're not bulletproof. We're all susceptible to whatever at any time. Just be very, very thankful that you are in good health you are. End of January, I had a heart attack. Spent 6 days in hospital. I've had one since then. But I'm recouping. Now, I'm going to ask a question, as Alicia did. I'm going to throw out a term here and see who knows. If you're a medical professional in the medical profession, don't answer. I am a bilateral BKA. Anybody know what that means? Both my legs below the knee have been amputated. I expel 75% more energy than any of you that have your legs just to walk. If you are an AK, which is above the knee, you expend 140% unilateral, one leg. If you are bilateral AK, it's in excess of 200%. So my question along that is, if you had somebody, if you were a physician, a therapist, a technician that does prosthetics, you had somebody that come to you that was a bilateral AK and has congestive heart failure, what do you tell them? You're done. You're just good as it's going to get. The therapists at the rehab hospital are wonderful. If you have a knee replacement, a hip replacement, a heart attack, an amputation, a stroke, they will help you. And they are very, very conscientious. They really, really care. Thank you.
I again want to thank you for the opportunity of inviting us here and being able to share this. And like I said, they tell the story much better than I can. But we are all here to help. We're here to help explain what we do. We're here to help you sort out, any kind of challenges you may ever have with a friend or family member. But most importantly, we're proud to be part of Conway. And anything that we can do to help support and contribute and give back, that's what it's about. So thank you again, and we appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Alicia and Rebecca and Lester. That was a wonderful program, and I really appreciate your stories and pray for continued recovery for both of you.